The galaxy had rules. For over 10,000 years, the Stellar Council controlled faster-than-light travel through their monopoly on quantum-fold drives. Only Council ships could cross the vast distances between star systems in mere hours. Every other species crawled through space at sublight speeds, taking decades or centuries to reach neighboring worlds. The Council consisted of 5 ancient races: the Vorthik, with their crystalline minds; the gas-dwelling Nixari; the machine hybrid Tectons; the psychic Mindari; and the warrior Krill. They had discovered FTL technology millennia ago and guarded its secrets jealously. Any species that dared to research independent FTL faced immediate destruction. Earth was just another primitive world on the Council's watch list. Humans had barely reached their own moon when the first Council scout ship arrived in 2157. The massive vessel, sleek and silent, appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. Contact was swift and brutal in its simplicity. Commander Vex, a Vorthik officer with skin like polished stone, delivered the message to Earth's leaders through their primitive radio signals. You are now subjects of the Stellar Council. Continue your development. But know this: any attempt to achieve faster-than-light travel will result in your immediate extermination. Comply, and you may one day earn the privilege of Council membership. The humans had no choice but to agree. Earth was given basic space technology, enough to establish colonies on Mars and Europa, but nothing more. Council enforcement ships patrolled the Sol system's edge, watching and waiting. For nearly a century, humanity obeyed. They built cities on Mars, mining stations in the asteroid belt, and research facilities throughout the solar system. The Council allowed this expansion, even provided some advanced materials in exchange for Earth's resources. It seemed like a fair trade, but humans were different. While other species accepted their limitations, humans questioned everything. In hidden laboratories on Europa, far from the Council's primary sensors, a small team of scientists worked in secret. Dr. Emma Ross led the research team. She was a quantum physicist who had spent her entire career studying the theoretical possibilities of faster-than-light travel. The Council's technology used quantum-fold drives that bent space-time, but Emma believed there was another way, a method the Council had never discovered. Her team included Dr. James Park, a brilliant engineer who could build anything, and Dr. Lisa Weber, a mathematician who saw patterns others missed. They called their project Breakthrough. Working with salvaged alien materials and Earth's most advanced computers, they developed a completely different approach to FTL travel. Instead of folding space like the Council, they discovered how to create quantum tunnels, temporary bridges, through space-time that required no exotic matter or massive energy sources. The breakthrough came on a cold Europa morning. Their small test probe, no bigger than a coffee cup, successfully traveled from Europa to Pluto and back in 3 minutes. The journey should have taken months at light speed. Emma stared at the readings, her hands shaking. "We did it," she whispered. "We actually did it." But their celebration was short-lived. Unknown to the humans, their quantum tunnel had created a unique energy signature, one that registered on every Council sensor within 50 light years. The signal was unlike anything the Council had ever seen. On the Council flagship, Dominion, Admiral Zarn of the Krill warrior caste studied the readings with growing alarm. His reptilian eyes narrowed as he processed the data. The energy signature came from the Sol system, specifically from the humans' ice moon colony. "Impossible," he hissed. "No species has ever developed FTL without quantum fold technology. These humans must have stolen our secrets." But the energy readings told a different story. This wasn't stolen Council technology. It was something entirely new, something the Council had never seen before. Zarn immediately dispatched a strike. Force toward Earth. The journey would take several days. even with quantum fold drives. He sent a message ahead to the Council's Earth monitoring station. Prepare for immediate human termination. They have violated the FTL prohibition. On Europa, Emma's team continued their tests, unaware that death was racing toward them through the void. They had achieved humanity's greatest dream, but in doing so, they had painted a target on their entire species. The Council had maintained galactic peace through fear and technological superiority for 10,000 years. No one had ever challenged their FTL monopoly. But humans were about to prove that some barriers were meant to be broken, and that the galaxy was big enough for more than one way to travel faster than light. The war for humanity's survival was about to begin. The Council strike force arrived at the edge of the Sol system like harbingers of death. 12 warships, each one a kilometer long, dropped out of quantum fold space with weapons already charging. Admiral Zarn's flagship led the formation, its hull bristling with plasma cannons and quantum disruptors. On Earth, the Council's monitoring station detected the arrival immediately. Agent Crix, a Tecton with mechanical implants covering half his face, sent an urgent transmission to Earth's government. Attention, Earth Command. Council fleet has arrived to investigate FTL violations. All human vessels must power down immediately. Prepare for inspection and possible termination protocols. President Maria Santos received the message in the middle of the night. She had feared this day would come ever since taking office. Every Earth leader knew about the secret research on Europa, though officially it didn't exist. How long do we have? She asked her defense minister, General Mike Torres. Hours, maybe less, Torres replied grimly. Our defensive satellites won't even scratch their hull plating. But on Europa, Dr. Emma Ross had other plans. The moment their sensors detected the Council fleet, she activated their emergency protocol. Her team had prepared for this possibility. James, is the quantum tunnel generator ready for full-scale testing? She asked. Dr. Park nodded, his fingers flying over the control panels. The prototype ship is loaded and ready. But Emma, we've never tested human transport. The tunnel could tear us apart. Better than letting the Council exterminate our entire species, Emma replied. She turned to the small crew of volunteers who had agreed to join the mission. This is it, people. We're about to prove that humans don't need the Council's permission to reach the stars. The prototype ship Pioneer was small, only 50 meters long, but it contained humanity's most advanced technology. Hidden in Europa's underground hangar, it had been built in complete secrecy over 3 years. Captain Tom Bradley, a former military pilot, would fly the mission. His crew included navigator Ana Lopez, engineer Paul Kim, and communications officer David Johnson. They were humanity's first FTL crew, though they might also be its last dot as the Council fleet moved deeper into the Sol system. The Pioneer launched from Europa. The ship flew dark, using only passive sensors to avoid detection. Their destination, Proxima Centauri, humanity's nearest stellar neighbor. Admiral Zarn watched Earth's defensive preparations with amusement. Human orbital platforms and missile batteries were positioning themselves around their homeworld, as if such primitive weapons could challenge Council technology. Sir, reported his tactical officer, Sub-Commander Yex, we're detecting unusual energy readings from the ice moon. It matches the FTL signature from earlier. Zarn's eyes gleamed. Then that's where the violation originated. Destroy it immediately. But before the Council fleet could fire, space itself seemed to tear open near Europa. A brilliant white tunnel appeared, crackling with quantum energy. The Pioneer shot through it at impossible speed, disappearing in a flash of light. The tunnel collapsed, leaving only empty space and confused Council sensors. What was that? Zarn demanded. His science officer, a Mindari named Thoughtslinger Moore, studied the readings with her psychic abilities. "Admiral, that was not our technology. The humans have developed their own FTL system, and it's different." The implications hit Zarn immediately. If humans could travel faster than light without Council technology, it changed everything. The Council's entire power structure was based on their FTL monopoly. Meanwhile, the Pioneer emerged from its quantum tunnel in the Proxima Centauri system, 4.2 light-years from Earth. The journey that should have taken the Council's fastest ships. 6 hours had been completed in 37 minutes. "My God," whispered Captain Bradley, staring at the alien star on his view screen. "We actually made it." Navigator Lopez checked their position. "Confirmed, sir. We're in the Proxima system." The quantum tunnel worked perfectly. But their celebration was interrupted by an urgent message from Earth. The Council fleet was demanding surrender and the immediate cessation of all FTL research. They had 6 hours to comply, or Earth would face orbital bombardment. "We need to get back," Bradley said. "Our families, our world, they're all in danger." "No." Emma's voice crackled over the communication system from Europa. "You need to keep going. Reach other star systems. Contact any alien species you can find. Tell them humanity has broken the Council's monopoly. Show them that freedom is possible." The Pioneer crew faced an impossible choice: return home to fight alongside their people, or continue their mission to spread hope across the galaxy. Either way, humanity's fate hung in the balance. The age of Council dominance was ending. The age of human expansion was about to begin. Captain Bradley made his decision. The Pioneer would continue its mission, jumping from system to system, spreading the word that the Council's monopoly was broken. But first, they would send a message back to Earth One that would change everything. "Aina, prepare a quantum burst transmission," Bradley ordered. "Send our tunnel technology data to every human colony in the Sol system. Include our successful jump coordinates and power requirements." Within hours, the information reached Mars, Titan, Ceres, and dozens of human outposts. The data spread like wildfire through humanity's communication networks. Scientists who had only dreamed of FTL travel suddenly held the blueprints for freedom in their hands. On Mars, Dr. Hassan Ali led the colony's research team in building their own quantum tunnel generator. Working around the clock, they used mining equipment and fusion reactors to construct a prototype system. The Red Planet's industrial facilities hummed with desperate activity. Meanwhile, Admiral Zarn grew increasingly frustrated. His fleet had surrounded Earth, but the humans showed no signs of surrendering. Worse, his sensors were detecting quantum tunnel signatures throughout the Sol system. "They're spreading the technology," Sub-Commander Yex reported. "Every human colony is attempting to build FTL capability." Zarn slammed his clawed fist on the command console. "This ends now. Begin orbital bombardment of Earth. Make an example that will be seen across the galaxy." But as the Council ships powered their weapons, space around Earth erupted in quantum tunnels. Human ships began appearing from everywhere: Mars, Europa, Titan, the asteroid belt. They weren't warships. They were cargo haulers, mining vessels, and research craft. But each one carried the quantum tunnel technology. Captain Lisa Park commanded the Mars colony ship Red Dawn. She had been Dr. James Park's sister, and she carried his rage along with his quantum tunnel generator. "This is Red Dawn to all human vessels," she broadcast. "We may not have weapons like theirs, but we have something better. We have freedom. Follow my lead." The improvised human fleet scattered in all directions, each ship opening quantum tunnels to different star systems. The Council fleet couldn't track them all. For every tunnel they detected, 3 more opened elsewhere. Admiral Zarn watched in horror as humanity spread across the galaxy like seeds on the cosmic wind. In a single day, humans had gone from a contained species to a diaspora spanning dozens of star systems. "Sir," Thought Singer Moore reported, her psychic abilities detecting something alarming. "I'm sensing other species throughout the galaxy. They're responding to the human transmissions." The Pioneer had found them. In the Vega system, Captain Bradley's crew encountered the Altani, a peaceful race of blue-skinned humanoids who had been enslaved by the Council for over 2,000 years. They lived on floating cities above a gas giant, mining rare elements for their council masters. Elder Nim led the Altani Council. When the Pioneer emerged from its quantum tunnel, she initially feared another council inspection. But when Captain Bradley explained humanity's situation, her large eyes filled with something she hadn't felt in centuries' hope. "You truly traveled between stars without council permission?" she asked through the universal translator. "Not just without permission," Bradley replied. "Without their technology at all. We found our own way." The Altani had never imagined such a thing was possible. For generations, they had accepted that only the Council could master faster-than-light travel. But these humans proved otherwise. Elder Nim made a decision that would echo across the galaxy. "Take me with you? Let me see this quantum tunnel technology. If other species can learn what you have discovered." The Pioneer's next stop was the Kepler system, where they found the Zorvak, a race of insectoid beings who had been forced to work in council energy plants for over 3,000 years. Their queen, Hive Mother Zix, listened to the human message with growing excitement. "Show us," she clicked in her native language. "Show us how to break free." Each species the Pioneer contacted shared the same story: centuries or millennia of council oppression, forced labor, and the crushing belief that resistance was impossible. But humanity's breakthrough changed everything. Got the news spread faster than even the Pioneer could travel. Species throughout the galaxy began secret communications, sharing hope and making plans. Some tried to replicate the quantum tunnel technology. Others simply prepared for the revolution they now believed was possible. On Earth, Admiral Zarn faced a crisis. His superiors on the Council homeworld were demanding immediate action, but the situation was spiraling beyond control. Humanity hadn't just violated the FTL prohibition, they had shattered the foundation of Council power. The galaxy was awakening, and there was no going back. The Council's emergency session convened on their capital world of Nexus Prime. Representatives from all 5 ruling species gathered in the massive crystalline chambers that had seen 10,000 years of unchallenged authority. The mood was darker than anyone could remember. Supreme Counselor Vex of the Vorphic called the session to order, his crystalline form pulsing with agitated light. "The human situation has escalated beyond a simple FTL violation. We face our first existential threat since the Council's founding." War Chief Grok of the Krill slammed his armored fist on the council table. "Then we do what we've always done. Exterminate the threat. Turn every human world to ash." But Thought Prime Vel of the Mindari raised a concern that chilled the chamber. "It's too late for simple extermination. My psychic network reports uprising preparations in over 40 systems. The humans have shown other species that our technology isn't the only path to the stars." The truth was worse than any of them had imagined. Humanity's quantum tunnel technology wasn't just different from Council FTL, it was better. Simpler to build, requiring less exotic materials, and impossibly fast, a revelation that threatened everything. Meanwhile, in the Tau Ceti system, the Pioneer made contact with the Resilients, a species that would change the course of the war. Unlike other enslaved races, the Resilients had maintained their warrior culture despite centuries of Council oppression. War leader Kara met with Captain Bradley aboard the Pioneer. She was tall and powerful, with skin like polished metal, and eyes that burned with barely contained fury. "Your species has given us something we lost long ago," she said in perfect English, learned from intercepted human transmissions. "Hope. But hope without action is worthless. We offer you alliance." The Resilians possessed something humanity needed: military knowledge. They had studied council tactics for centuries, waiting for an opportunity that had never come. Now, with human FTL technology, that opportunity had arrived. "We can teach you to fight," Kara continued. "Your quantum tunnels can get our warriors where they need to be. Together, we can bring down an empire." Captain Bradley felt the weight of history on his shoulders. He was a pilot, not a general, but he had become humanity's first interstellar diplomat. "What are you proposing?" "War," Kara replied simply. "Not the Council's kind of war, with massive fleets and orbital bombardments. Guerrilla warfare. Hit and run. Free one species at a time until the Council's empire crumbles from within." Back in the Sol system, the situation had reached a breaking point. Admiral Zarn's fleet maintained their blockade of Earth, but human ships continued to slip through quantum tunnels. Every escaped vessel carried more refugees and more quantum tunnel technology to distant star systems. Dr. Emma Ross had evacuated Europa with her research team, but not before transmitting their complete data to every human colony. She now worked from a hidden base in the asteroid belt, coordinating humanity's desperate expansion. "Status report," she asked her communications officer, David Johnson, who had returned from the Pioneer's first mission. 53 star systems now have human presence," Johnson reported. 17 alien species have made contact, and 12 have requested our FTL technology. The Resilians are offering military alliance. Emma nodded grimly. "And the Council's response?" "Admiral Zarn has requested reinforcements. Intelligence suggests they're preparing to abandon surgical strikes in favor of total warfare." The tipping point came when the Zorvik successfully tested their first quantum tunnel generator. Hive Mother Zix had mobilized her entire species, using their natural engineering abilities to mass-produce tunnel systems. Within days, Zorvik ships began appearing in systems throughout the galaxy. Unlike humans, who fled to spread their technology, the Zorvak chose direct action. They launched coordinated strikes on Council installations, using quantum tunnels to appear without warning and disappear before retaliation could arrive. The first major victory came at Kepler Station, a massive Council fuel depot that powered their regional fleet operations. 300 Zorvik fighters emerged from quantum tunnels simultaneously, overwhelming the station's defenses and destroying it completely. The message was clear across the galaxy. The Council could be defeated. Species that had lived in fear for millennia began to act. The Altany disrupted mining operations. The Helix sabotaged communication relays. The Wanderers raided supply convoys. Each victory was small, but together they represented something unprecedented: organized resistance to Council rule. Admiral Zarn watched his reports with growing dread. The galaxy was in open revolt, and it was spreading faster than his ships could respond. The humans had done more than break the FTL barrier. They had broken the chains of fear that held the Council's empire together. The final war for galactic freedom had begun. 6 months after humanity's first quantum tunnel, the galaxy was unrecognizable. What had begun as a desperate escape from Earth had become the largest uprising in galactic history. The Council's iron grip was slipping, system by system, species by species. On Nexus Prime, Supreme Counselor Vex faced the unthinkable, the possibility of Council defeat. Emergency reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The Helix Nebula Mining Consortium had declared independence. The Outer Rim territories were in full revolt. Even some inner core worlds were questioning Council authority. How many systems have we lost? Vex asked his aide, trying to keep the crystalline panic from his voice. Direct control? Nearly 40%. Reliable communication? Less than half of that. The quantum tunnel networks have made centralized command impossible. The humans had done something the Council never anticipated. They had democratized faster than light. Travel. No longer did star travel require massive infrastructure and exotic materials. Any species with basic technology could build quantum tunnel generators using common materials. Captain Bradley had become more than Earth's first interstellar explorer. He was now Admiral Bradley, commanding a growing fleet of human and alien vessels. The Pioneer had been joined by ships from dozens of species, all using human quantum tunnel technology. His current mission was the most ambitious yet, a direct assault on Council Fortress Omega, the military command center that coordinated all Council fleet operations. The station orbited a neutron star, protected by gravitational anomalies that made traditional approach impossible. But quantum tunnels didn't care about gravitational fields. All ships, prepare for synchronized tunnel generation, Bradley commanded. His fleet consisted of vessels from 12 different species human engineering, Resilient weapons, Zorvik fighters, Altini shields, and more. It was the kind of cooperation the galaxy had never seen before. The assault began without warning. 300 ships materialized inside Council Fortress Omega's defensive perimeter simultaneously. The station's automated defenses, designed to repel approaching fleets, couldn't target enemies that appeared instantaneously throughout the facility. War leader Kara led the boarding assault with a mixture of human, Marines, and Resilient warriors. Her target was the station's command center, where Admiral Tyron of the Tecton commanded the Council's military response to the uprising. The battle was fierce but brief. Council troops, accustomed to technological superiority, couldn't adapt to quantum tunnel tactics. Enemy forces appeared behind their lines, disappeared when overwhelmed, and struck from impossible angles. When Kara reached the command center, she found Admiral Tyron destroying classified data rather than let it fall into rebel hands. "It's over," she told him simply. "Surrender, and your people will be treated fairly." Tyron's mechanical eye focused on her with hatred. "The Council has ruled for 10,000 years. You think your primitive rebellion can truly challenge us?" "Not primitive," Kara corrected. "Just free." The fall of Council Fortress Omega sent shockwaves through the galaxy. For the first time in millennia, a major Council military installation had been captured by rebels. The psychological impact was immense. On Earth, President Santos received the news with tears of joy. The Council blockade had been withdrawn weeks earlier, as Admiral Zarn's forces were reassigned to protect more critical installations. Humanity's homeworld was free, but the real victory was happening across the galaxy. Species that had been enslaved for centuries were declaring independence. The Zorvek had liberated their homeworld. The Altini controlled 3 star systems. The Resilients had formed their own republic. Dr. Emma Ross, now directing scientific cooperation between dozens of species, made a discovery that would reshape galactic civilization. Working with alien scientists, her team had improved the quantum tunnel technology beyond anything she had originally imagined. "We can create permanent tunnel networks," she explained to Admiral Bradley during a secure transmission. "Stable wormholes that don't require ships to generate their own tunnels. We're not just talking about faster-than-light travel. We're talking about instantaneous transportation across galactic distances." The implications were staggering. Trade, communication, and travel that had taken the Council's best ships days or weeks could now happen in seconds. Supreme Counselor Vex faced the inevitable on Nexus Prime. The Council's last major fleet had been defeated at the Battle of Vega. Prime. Over half their member species had declared independence. Their 10,000-year reign was ending. What are your terms? He asked when Admiral Bradley's coalition fleet arrived at Nexus Prime. Bradley, flanked by representatives from dozens of liberated species, delivered humanity's final message to the Council. No terms. No surrender. The age of empires is over. The age of cooperation begins now. The Council dissolved that day, replaced by the Galactic Alliance of Free Species. Humanity, the youngest member, had become the catalyst for the greatest transformation. In galactic history, the barriers were broken. The chains were shattered. The stars belonged to everyone now. Freedom had won.